Wilson here? Alan Minkus, are you here?
Nope, he's on vacation.
Okay. I see Tim Alex, Christian, Matt Dunn, and myself. Anybody else that I've missed?
Yeah, Robert Schwartz.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. Yep, I got you. Yeah, thank
And
you.
Mark Hawk.
Yes, I have you as well. Yes, Mark Hawk. Okay. I think we're all set. Thank you. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So thank you for calling the roll. Can we now approve the minutes from May 4th? Do I hear a motion to approve? Thank you, Mr. Hankinson. Appreciate
Move
it.
to approve.
I knew you were going to do that. Excellent.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Number 2. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, could we put that to roll call vote? Dr. Hemmon?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Absolutely.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
yes,
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Mark Hawk.
Yes,
It's approved.
Excellent. Now moving on to approving bills and orders.
Mr. Chairman, we have several that have come in, and let me grab them that I want to get in the order. We have 3 from Allied Testing, invoice number 24161 for $925. Invoice number 24243 for $750. Invoice number 24325 for $875. All of those have been approved by ROPM. And the last one we have is from Pro AV Systems in the amount of, if I get this correct, $18,882. We could have a motion to approve all of those. That would be wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Hankinson. You're on mute, by the way, but I saw your mouth moving. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Blavin. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, Dr. Hemmon, but you mind putting this to a roll call vote?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes,
Bob Schwartz,
yes,
Mark Hawk. It's a motion.
Yeah.
I would add, if Brenda is not here today, she's going to do the minutes from the tape of the meeting. So please make sure you speak so she can, it comes out so she can hear correctly.
Yep. That was a unanimous vote, vote, so the motion passes.
Yes, yeah, the motion for unanimously. Both the minutes and the bills were unanimous vote.
Yep. Any, Dr. Hemmon, no more bills or orders, correct?
No, we're all set.
Moving on to the OPM.
Okay, I do have a financial update.
I'll make it so you can share your screen. My apologies. I should have done that before. You should be ready to go.
All right, great. Okay, you able to see this, okay?
Yep.
So again, this is the form that we've been tracking. Our accounting office does them, each month. This one is as of June 1st today, but there's some invoices, the contractor's application for payment for May hasn't been submitted yet. So there is a lag between what we're showing here and what we're actually, where we actually stand. But if you go to the bottom here, our totals, our budget of 89.5 million, of which we've encumbered 76 million, and we've authorized for payment roughly $50 million. But what we're also tracking again is how much of that 50 that's been approved for payment would be eligible for reimbursement. And we're tracking about 34.5 million of that 50 would be eligible for reimbursement. And based on your reimbursement, we would be at about 27.6 million reimbursed to the city. And just in looking at overall our budget. I'm not sure if, let me share this guy.
Tim, would you email me both of those? So I have them in a matter of record. They were shown at the meeting. So
Yeah.
after the meeting, would you send them to me, please?
Yeah, that report that I showed, Steve, is what gets part of the monthly report, which you'll see in a few days.
Yeah.
But I'll send you this as well.
Yeah.
This is just a summary of our overall budget. And again, it's showing that, our contract to date is about 76 million of the overall budget. We're planning to spend some additional funds. This is showing us as if we were to spend all of our contingency to zero out the project. We don't anticipate doing that, but we're doing very, very well with the finances on the project. Any questions about finances or where we stand financially? Good, that's all I had.
Great, thanks a lot, Tim. Moving on to the report from the architects.
Mr. Chairman, we might have a report from Matt Dunn on the construction.
Sure.
Okay. Site work, they paved the multi-use path yesterday. There's been some hydro seeding and grading work out in the back. Not a whole lot of site work lately, but since you were up there last, but they're working on a gabion wall on the east side of Building C. But on the inside, basically, flooring is almost completed on the third floor. In this case, all the corridors will be done last. So whenever I give a report about the floors, it's the classrooms, not the corridors. So almost the building A is almost completed, less the corridors and the areas that get carpet squares and things like that. Casework is basically complete on all three floors. They pretty much moved over to Building C now. They're putting up signs today, interior signage on the rooms. That was good to see, something finished looking. Protected the floors, Building C. They are now doing casework on both floors in the classrooms. Coming behind them, they're putting sinks in and faucets. Painting is ongoing, kind of all over the place, touch-ups here and there, but mostly in Building B and some in Building C. What else? Building B, tile work in the corridor on the first floor, working on the elevator. They came back. They started back yesterday.
Power.
Oh, yes, temporary, permanent power. They energized permanent power on Friday. Now it's a matter of just going building by building so that they can energize them individually. There's still kind of some infrastructure work that has to be done, but within the week or so, we should have buildings A and C online. B is not quite as far ahead power-wise, but the power is to the site. That's huge. Building B, basically painting, taping, the elevators, exterior work. They're doing the GFRC, the rain screen paneling on the west side, the south side of B, east side of B. Brick work on Building A and finishing up in Building C on the west side. And that's pretty much it. MEP stuff, odds and ends going on, finishes. I think that's pretty much it.
Any questions? Okay, so now we'll move on to the report from the architects. Christian?
Great. Well, let's just move right into the PCO, and this will hopefully get wrapped into change order number 17. And so this summary went out with documents that Dr. Hemmond sent out, and I've highlighted in yellow things that have changed as of today. So it's always a constantly evolving, and we had our OAC meeting this morning. The first one, this was also included as a PDF attachment, and I've got that here in case we want to go into it. This is a letter on ads and credits for PCOs 66, 90, and 120 that have been sitting out there for a long time. And basically, as we had left it, Bacon was going to go back to their structural steel supplier and see what they could do on their end. And they just kind of let it sit there for quite a few months. The work has been installed, but we did want to bring this to conclusion. So they basically have, here's a kind of summary at the bottom of their letter. So they put the original cost of these PCOs, PCO 66 originally for 26,000, PCO 90 for 32,000. Those, since that time, have both come down. I think this one came down to about 24, and this one may be down to about 28. And then we also had this other PCO out there, number 120. This was for a credit. This was, we had just kept getting hammered on these structural PCOs. We said, well, actually, there's quite a bit that was in the drawings that you have not done. So at least show us a credit for that amount of work. And that's where PCO 120 came from. So by taking these original costs, by taking that credit of PCO 120, really for 66, they did very minor reductions. It was basically Bacon's overhead and profit and their bond. For PCO 90, they did a little bit of a larger revision, a subtraction of about $9,000. So anyway, they're trying to settle all three of these PCOs for the grand total of 31,789.59. We had an informal discussion with Wayne and Mark Hawk about this, and felt that it was worth getting these issues behind us and really moving towards getting the building finished up. So that was our initial input, but we have not responded formally to this one yet.
I'd like to add, Christian, that
Sure.
the 58,861 was conditionally a not to exceed price that was approved in August of, what year is it? This was 2022, so it'll be 2021. So
What year is it? Yeah. Yes, and so I include that here. These have already been approved at a not to exceed. So we're just bringing it back to kind of get formal approval and just to let you know what has happened since almost an entire year ago.
and I appreciate you getting it down another 27 grand.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a back and forth, and yeah. All right, I will continue on, and of course, if there's questions, we can go back up. 240 is for the canopy. This was another one that has already been approved at a not to exceed. We were hoping it would come down. It has in fact not come down, so it's staying at the 42,410. And this is for the fact that cameras and electrical are quite difficult to mount to these pre-manufactured canopies. So we had to make quite a few changes to have more of it on the building and less conduit going through the roof of the canopy. 270 is for refrigerant lines along the east side of the B wing. So there's some units on basically on the roof of the cafeteria. And then there's these coolant lines that run up to the third floor of the B wing. And they were going to be mounted to the exterior of the building. It did not look so great. We looked at it, and there was the ability to do a chase inside that worked pretty well from floor to floor. And so we recommend approval for 3,793. 272 was not included in the email that went out, but we did have a long review with Wayne and other folks from the district on signage, and also the big change, the big portion of this $12,000 PCO is adding a removable bollard at each end of the multi-use path. The multi-use path is pretty wide, and so without that removable bollard, it was thought that maybe an enterprising high schooler in a small pickup truck could try and drive on that multi-use path. And so one removable bollard kind of at the middle of it, down by Pearl Street, and same over by the middle school would be helpful. We still have some questions on this one, some credits for some signage that we got rid of, but we're hoping to get approval for not to exceed of 12,709. 278 has been an incredibly frustrating one. This is the poured in place rubber surface at the playground. We called out for one area to be 60% blue and 40% green. I think we had a very specific name for the colors. And then another area was going to be 100% of some other color. The manufacturer got back to us and said, our standard colors are in fact, our quote unquote standard colors are in fact a mix of 50% black rubber and 50% of a color. Our landscape architect felt that that was not what they had designed, not what they had intended, and the 50% black made it look much kind of dirtier and darker. And so we said, no, we asked for 100% color, please give us 100% color. So we wrote a carefully worded response yesterday, saying that we did agree that, on the few places where we've changed it from a wood fiber surface to a poured in place lately, that makes sense, that would have an additional upcharge for going to the full color, but that we thought the areas included in the construction documents should in fact be 100% color. Bacon has since rejected that and indicated that they will not install the poured in place rubber without the full change order being approved. So basically at this point, we can either accept the 50% black and 50% color, or we can approve the $32,000 change order, or we can certainly also just direct them to proceed under protest. Matt and Tim, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add to that.
Well, I think that I would recommend that we direct them to proceed under protest. Worst case is that you would be culpable or liable for the $32,000 charge if they were to do it under protest and win their protest. If there was some sort of a settlement reached at a later date, then there would be the cost might be split, or you'd come to some sort of resolution. But I think it's pretty clear. We asked for 100% color, and the manufacturer's literature talks about how you can add black to a color to reduce the cost. So it's not like they don't do 100% color. I don't really, I feel pretty strong that that you purchased this and you should get it, and it's worth fighting for.
I agree with Tim. When we went over this, we reviewed the manufacturer's website, and it states right on the website that these are our standard colors, and it shows the colors of the rainbow. Nowhere does it say our standard color is a 50% mix of anything. So I would agree with the proceeding under protest.
Should we take this one separately? And does anyone have a motion to address this? Mark, you want to put that into a motion?
So motion.
Seconded.
You got to really state the motion, guys, because Brenda won't know.
So I think, Mark, you said the motion is to direct them for change order number 278 to direct Bacon to proceed under protest.
For the
Exactly
colors,
what I said.
for the colors that was requested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for the base scope of work, because really what they're protesting is what was in the bid documents. So we want to add some additional poured in place in some areas. And we're going to look for approval from you guys for roughly not to exceed $10,000 to cover the cost of that. So I think in this motion, you want to just say that we're going to recommend directing Bacon to proceed with the work as specified in the bid documents. And if they, they can do it under protest if they don't like it.
And that's not gonna make, that's not, but the original documents, they have wood chips?
No, well, of the port in place to do it as, this kind of combines a couple different things. It combines the base scope of work for port in place material and roughly $10,000 of additional work that wasn't in the base bid. What was in the base bid was wood chips. And so to upgrade from the wood chips to the port in place in additional areas is a value of roughly $10,000.
Right, so I think,
Go ahead, Jen, what?
Right.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We're going to still have a change order not to exceed 10,000, and the additional above that is directing them to proceed under protest.
Correct.
Okay,
$2,000 you're saving.
so is, okay,
So that was my motion, yes.
okay. Do I hear a second?
I seconded it. Mr. Anderson,
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hemmond?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
yes.
Robert Hankinson,
yes,
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes,
Bob Schwartz,
yes,
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
It's a motion. It's passed.
Excellent.
Great, thank you.
We do the $10,000 one now, get approval for that so we can just move on it once we get paperwork.
Maybe we can wrap that, Matt, into the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, well,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I
But
would
just
move
needs to
the, I would move the others with the number that Dr. Hammond is about to read to us for a total.
I'm gonna keep.
We're not done yet.
Done yet.
Wishful thinking.
Well, that will go quickly. So 279, I just wanted to let folks know about this one. This one that we have rejected, and I've not heard back from Bacon on this one yet. But there was a charge of 1,672 for a shrinkage crack in the A-wing. Our rejection was that, the contractor should have a 1-year warranty on the building, and to us, this crack falls under that warranty. And so that's why we rejected it. I just wanted to let the committee know about that.
And there's another one in building C that's just as severe. So this would actually double. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. So whatever position we take now will affect the other one as well.
280 is a change in the curtain wall height adjustment. So we've paid for change to rework the knee wall, which is the low wall at the media center. This is for the cost of blocking the air vapor barrier detail, which had to change a little bit at the head of this curtain wall. A trim piece to cover that air vapor barrier, again, at the head of the wall, and for a slight modification to the spandrel panels for $12,993. 281 is for a soffit at the coiling grill. This is at the top of the monumental stairs. The motor for the coiling grill unfortunately sits right next to it. So we need to create a soffit to enclose both of those items. 2,401. 282 is a similar to a previously approved PCO about the thickness of insulation that wraps our eave detail sticking out from our roof. We want to try and wrap that structure so that we don't have any thermal bridging. And we just had to change the insulation there based off of conditions in the field. They've already ordered the previous insulation. So Wayne, if you need any 1.5 inches of rigid insulation, let us know, because I'm kind of serious that I think one of us should take it home because they're not giving us a credit for it.
We'll
Yeah,
build-
I think we should direct them to turn that over to the owner.
Yeah. We'll have one hell of a fort installed on site somewhere.
A308 is a modification to the casework where we've had a structural steel beam that's exposed in that classroom, and the very upper storage that you guys saw when you were walking through the building conflicts with that beam. So they were just going to cut out the back of the casework so that it can fit. In general, I would say, there was a few hours in here that we thought were a bit high from the casework folks, but on the other side of that, they have been absolutely wonderful to deal with. They have, I just wanted to put that on the record, Polybois, they're out of Canada. They make it all there and then ship it down. And anyway, they've come up with several details around window trim where the conditions were a little bit different in the field than what we showed in our documentation, and then just made those changes without any PCOs, and they've just been great to work with. They've had someone there after hours walking through the building, just looking at conditions, trying to anticipate what needs to change before they've delivered the casework from Canada. So we recommend approval for that one. 284 is another new one. This is for motor starters to 3 exhaust fans. To be totally honest, I do not know very much about this one, but we did recently have Hesner and ART, our mechanical and our electrical engineers, review it, and they thought that it seemed reasonable for 1,268. There was some additional potential added cost if we needed a variable fan drive, but luckily that was not the case. 288, a very small one. This is to add hold opens at the doors near the kitchen. A very, very good idea from Wayne for $755. 291 was included in the email that we sent out, and it has since been voided. It's a long story, but basically that condition has already been taken care of. I followed up with them, and they realized the ceiling subcontractor realized that that this was already taken care of. And then the last one, 292, is for the additional folded paper towel dispensers. We had folded paper towel dispensers for typical classrooms, but unfortunately 31 additional units are needed throughout the building. So to supply those and install those is $7,025. And I think that this number includes all of the cost of the poured in place rubber. So let me quickly figure out what the latest number would be if all of those are included. Okay. So if 278 is for $10,000, then the total for all of these comes to, with the recommended approvals, taking out the ones that have changed, with the recommended compromise of 31,000 on that first one, that whole total comes to 130,434.59.
Do I have a motion to approve that amount?
Move.
Thank you for first and second. Do I hear any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hemmond?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
yes,
Jennifer Flavin,
Yes,
Bob Schwartz,
yes,
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
Christian, will that become change order number 17?
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Christian, anything else?
That's all from us.
Fabulous. I don't believe there's any old business or new business or other business.
Mr. Chairman, just a correction on the next meeting. Our next meeting would be, for this committee would be July 6th, and the meeting after that would be August 3rd.
July 6th?
Yeah, that's a Wednesday, the first Wednesday, and then August 3rd is the first Wednesday in August. Those would be the two dates.
Okay.
I assume the architects and the OPMs would want to have a subcommittee meeting on July 6th and August 3rd.
Yeah, I would anticipate that we would.
Okay,
Okay. Nobody's here from the public. And I'm going back to my thing. Okay, so if we have there's no need for executive session. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, seconded. No discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
you.
Take care.
Good
Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate it.